Hi guys, welcome back to the shop. Hey, today we're going to get on what everybody's waiting on. They're wanting to see the GT1 opened up and see what the problem is in there. So we're going to get started on that. Should be able to get down to the nitty gritty. So let's get on with it. All right, let's just start over here on the flywheel. Get that off. Okay, let's see if that's going to come off. Let's see here, what do I want to hold that with? Okay, we'll use our spanner here. It's got short little pins, so we're not going to get into anything. There we go. Get in here and get our, looks like I need a small one. Yeah, that fits better. Well, that one looks like we're going to be drilling it out. It tore it out. That's unusual. Let me see if I can try to get another bite here before we try all that. Sometimes you luck out. I'm also going to get a little shorter here. No, not going to work. We're going to drill it. Let me get ready to do it. Yeah. I think I need to go just a little more and then I'll use a bigger bit. There we go. There's our end. So we can go ahead and get all that out of there. And then we'll have to deal with it. Okay. Let me see what we can do here. Let's see if we can get an easy out in there. There we go. Looks like we lucked out. The one good thing about those tapered head screws is usually you can get them straight down the middle when you drill them. So that worked out good. Doesn't always work that way. Okay, you can definitely see here that the seal was leaking. It's pushed out a little bit right here. That could be it just wasn't installed very good, but you can definitely see or I can anyway, when you push on it, you can kind of see liquid back there under it. And of course you've got all this spray out here. Okay, I think we're done over here for a little bit. Looks like we've got a little issue here with the bolt. Must have got stripped out in the Kickstarter. We've got a nylock on this side and an Allen. So I'll go find an Allen and we'll get that off. Yeah. Well, I think it must just have been the bolt. Looks like it's been drilled out. The splines look okay in there, and I believe they're okay here. Okay, just looking at this, it looks like, on the AT1s and CT1s, you've got a screw in here that holds the cover on too, and I'm not seeing it on this one. So we're just going to dive on in here and start removing these. Really doesn't look like it's ever been off. Well, I take that back. It looks like this screw's had some use on it. It probably has. It's hard to find one that hadn't been tore apart these days. Once in a while you do, though. See if we can pop it loose here. Yeah, okay. Not a lot of good places to get it here. I've got all this kind of tied on here. Yeah, the gasket's wanting to pull off. Can't remember whether he brought me a gasket or not. Let me see if I can get under it. I think you can see right here how the gasket's stuck up here on the case or side cover and here on the case. I don't know. I don't think we're going to have much luck with that. Either way. Looks like most of it is stuck to the inner cases. If I can get it. Oh well, it's already broke back here. So I guess, yeah, I can see right here where it's already broke. So not much point. Just cut it right there. Yeah, it didn't. We could use it if we had to, probably. Okay. Yeah, looking really clean in there. So far, so good. Clutch looks good. I'm not seeing anything that really shouts at me, so that's good. Actually, there is something that shouts at me. Look at that seal. That seal pushed up right there. So that's sucking transmission oil. Of course, it didn't save it from its fate, whatever that may be. But it really does look clean. Okay, let's go ahead and start our clutch here. Okay, we end up with a fiber here according to the way it's installed now. We'll look at the book and see if that's how it's supposed to be. Pull our actuator. We got little dampers in there, got a 3-plate clutch. Doesn't look like there's anything. Looks like we start with a fiber, end with a fiber. All right, let me get a chisel and we'll get this hub off. Okay, looks like I've got one that fits. Let's get it over there though. And all we've got right there is the lock washer. And looks like we can reuse it. Yep, we've got a thrust back here. And looks like we've got a copper washer there. So no bearing, looks like just these two pieces. Well, this is either stuck or it's made on there. And we've got a spacer. This one doesn't have a hole in it, so it looks like it can probably go either way. And we've got a washer back here. Let's get a dimension on that one real quick. That's a 2mm. I think this other one looks a little different. No, it's about the same. That's why this is the one that we just measured, and this one I bet is, yeah, it's 2 too. So it's a little bit different. Looks like the ID maybe. Okay, so we're good there. Let's go ahead and get this off and see, take a look at that seal that's popping out of there. I'm just going to grab hold of the rod here, I think. Try to do that. Yep. Got a flange nut and a Belleville washer underneath it. There we go. Well, that wasn't a big deal to get out of there. And we've got a key there. Let me just get a little awl here and see if, I bet that seal is pretty much loose. Yeah, look at that. Wasn't doing much. Got a, I don't know, something back here. It looks like something, the bearing maybe has been running on it. It's kind of strange. See, look, you've got empty space here, and then down here, I think this seal was rolled when it was put in. I believe that's the problem. It should have been able to be put in either way, I would think. Okay, there's probably a O-ring on the crankshaft there, so we'll wait until we get a little closer in to see what we need to do about that. Let's go ahead and get our snap ring out. And we've got a washer on the outside here. And looks like a spring washer. I see a spring washer here and another washer behind it. So it's going to go like that. Let's see if we can get the Kickstarter assembly out. It doesn't look different really in any major way. The only thing I can see is on the AT1s and stuff, you've got the pocket up here for this spring, and down here it goes in on the bottom. But it does the same thing up at the top here. And oh, it's been banging it pretty good too, looks like. This right here hits that. Looks like it's been into it here a little bit. I don't know what the story is on these, whether they slip like the AT1 and CT1 do on the splines here, but that's kind of indicative of that. Oh boy, this doesn't look good at all. See right here? This is a crack. And it goes all the way up into this web. Oh, that's not good. Yeah, really it just goes up to the web and comes down to right in here. I'm not sure what would have caused that. I can't believe that this Kickstarter banging here would do that. It's got to be another issue somewhere. And it could be that this was taken apart at some point, and that's what they found and just put it back together. I don't know. Okay, in order to get this shift shaft out, we're going to have to take the snap ring off the other side. So let me get set up to do that. Okay, one thing I'm noticing here is there's a tight spot. See, there it's pretty loose, and you get around to one area right there, and it's tight. And I'm having a little trouble finding neutral. I believe it's all the way one way. So we've got something going on. I think that case being broke over there is causing this to have a tight spot. That should be high. No, that's high. Okay. So that should be neutral, and I can't get neutral. So there's something wrong inside on this also. So we're just going to have to carry on and see what we find. Oh, I did pull out the clutch rod here, and there's a ball just like there are on the others, only it's a lot smaller. So you've got this little ball and the actuator and the rod. The ball goes between the two, just kind of normal enduro fashion. So let's set this up, and we'll go ahead and get the sprocket off. Yeah, that's pretty tight for some reason. Most of the time I can hold them with a gloved hand unless they're just really tight. Oh, that's pretty tight. There it is. Okay, we just need to get our clip off here. Again, just normal enduro fashion here with a washer under it. Okay. So we've got, this is the first one I should have took off. This is different here. Okay, so that should get, there's no washer here. That should come off, there we go. So this, got our spring. Everything looks right there. Okay, now this piece comes through that had the other one on it, snap ring there. Okay, let me see if I can work that spacer off. I want to be up here a ways. Well, I'm not sure what I'm going to... I know what's holding it is the O-ring. I need to think about that. I've had them pretty hard to get off. I hate to drag that O-ring all the way underneath it, but sometimes you have to. But I think with this crack, there's something going on in there and things aren't working right. So over here, I think the only thing I've got left that I'm going to need to do is pull these screws on the drum. Let's go ahead and get her. I'm assuming this is a detent. Yep, okay. A little different looking than I'm used to, but okay. So I think probably the next thing I need to do is pop all these screws with the impact driver. Let's see, we've got one right up top here. Okay, it looks like all the screws, so we'll pop this back up. And I guess I need to get these out so the drum will go through. Okay, I think we're done over here. So let me get it out of the jig and we'll get it on the bench and see if we can get it separated. Okay, I've got my puller on here. And I think everything that needs to be removed has been. So we'll start tightening it up, see where we end up here. Okay, that's promising. You can see it's split up here. There, it looks like it's splitting back a little further. Give it another little turn. And let's see. There it goes. I have a feeling, well, I don't know whether it's pulling it through here or not, but it just doesn't want to come off. I may end up having to heat that to remove it. We'll move on a little bit here and see if things are still progressing. I think it's pulling out. So let me go ahead and get the puller off. I think it'll come apart now. That seal looks all messed up too. It's hard. It's hard and like melted. Yeah, you can see the seal right here. This thing got real hot somewhere. There's the spring off the seal right there. And it's melted all that rubber around it. That's definitely bad bearings. Okay, let's see. See if we can figure out what's going on with the Okay, we've got a keeper on the back side there, so okay, see there, the bushing has been in a bind here evidently, and you can see kind of some scoring on this shaft. And that bushing comes out of that hole right here. Now you can see the crack under it. So it's in a bind right here. That's why I had a free spot and a tight spot. Okay, I've got to get the crankshaft out, and this bushing is I know that the O-ring is stuck under there. Let's see if it'll come out. Oh yeah, I think so. Sometimes you just can't get those off. Yeah, there it is. You just have to, I don't know, maybe it doesn't have an O-ring under it. We'll see. All the dowel pins are coming out here. Well, maybe it doesn't have one on it. Nope, doesn't. It was just maybe a little rusted on. Okay. This one, not much good there. This one's not as bad, but we're going to replace them all. But we've got to, I think we're going to need a case. I don't know what caused that. You know, the Enduros have a needle bearing in here. Of course, that's not what caused it. It's just, that's kind of different. I just had a friend of mine that watches the channel, Marcel, and he's working on one of these right now too. And he said that Yamaha didn't use thrust washers on these until 76 or 77, I think he said. So I'm glad he contacted me and pointed that out, because I'd be sure looking for thrust washers when I get ready to put this back together. So there's I see still another spring. Oh no, it must be how it melted in. It looked like a spring. I'm probably going to poke my hand with this awl. Oh boy. Pretty rough. Let me get over to the press and we'll go ahead and remove this. I'm not seeing any shims on the crankshaft at all. None there. Unless it's melted into this, I don't see one on this side either. Well, it wouldn't be there, it'd be on the bearing. It'd be behind the bearing. So we got to get that off to see. Usually they're not back there. If you have a shim, they're going to be on the clutch side. Sometimes they got them both sides. You just never know. Okay, let's see if we can get this bearing started anyway. Got my copper jaws here, so everybody breathe easy. And we'll try to get a, yep, I believe that bearing separator will go. It'll get under it. That's what we're looking for. We can get it started with this, and then we can take it over to the press and finish it off. Probably hear it pop here in a minute. I'm going to have to get a wrench. There it goes. Yeah, I believe it's pulling it up now. Okay, should be able to get it over there on the press. It's under, the lip's under it now. Okay, I've got it in the bearing separator, and I've got the rod so that it's not going to be in the way. Get as close to these blocks as I can, and then we'll go ahead and press it. Okay, we're looking at up from underneath. We've got aluminum pusher here so not to damage the threads. Okay, I'm not seeing a shim there either. So it's shimless. Okay, let's take it back up to the bench and we'll measure it up. Okay guys, I don't think I have any specs from Yamaha as far as the width go. I'm going to do some looking, but as of right now I'm just going to measure just like I always do before I take them apart. We've got a raised area on both sides here, so that should be the same height as the center here is. So we'll check them both places though. I'm going to go here at the pin and down here, yep, zeroed out. Okay, I got 3794 at the pin, and that's millimeters. Okay, let's go 180 out here and see what we got. $37.94. Looks pretty good. Okay. Let me just go out here and just verify what I've got here. We'll go back to the pin. Okay, that's a little different. $37.99 on the outside. Not going to make much difference. And looks like it's a little closer over here. Got 3807. Actually, that's further away, isn't it? 3807, 180. All right. And you see we've got a little rust here where it's setting on, water was setting in the bottom probably. What I'm really interested in is we've got good ends. Threads look good. And the seal surface. Seal surface looks good. Both sides. So we've got our measurement there. So we'll go ahead and separate this and see what we've got in store on the inside. Okay guys, got her slipped up in here and we're watching our clearance. And this is a piston pin right there. So it's quite the crankshaft pin, the lower crankshaft pin's almost as big as the piston pin there. Okay, they're lined up. Looks like still centered pretty good. Let's give it a shot. Yeah, pretty tight. That's kind of the way they are though. Okay, grabbed it underneath here. Yep. Just like Marcel said, there's no thrust washers in there. Looks like a little bit of corrosion in there. It almost looks like one there, but it isn't. Huh. Nope, it's just worn. Okay. Oops, excuse me. Okay, let's go ahead and press that pin out. So there's all our parts. Okay guys, I got my handy dandy magnifier out here. I'm going to see if this will work. Seemed like I got it to work for you once. Okay. Looks okay right there. And as we get towards the bottom here, you've got corrosion right in here. A little bit right there. And right up in here. This is by far the worst. So I would say we need bearings and a rod. I would put a rod in. And he's got me one, so there's no reason not to do it. I hope that turns out. Okay, not sure how that's going to turn out. So we'll just we'll take a look here. Get some more light here. Right here. And right here. And I tell you, there's this edge right here has got a little bit of fold over of material. The other side, no. Smooth. So that's where I think we are getting this. Now this looks worse than I think it is. I really can't feel much of a definition between out here and there, but there is some. So I don't know. We may have to, we may just have to do some work on this, or maybe try to put some thrust washers in it. I don't know. I'm gonna have to talk it over with the man that owns it. This side, it is just discoloration. So this side is good. Anyhow, that's where we are on that. I just did a little research, and it looks like the crankshaft assembly is the same for just about all of them. GT, MX to up to F, GT1, GT80, AE, F, G, YZ80, MX80, DT80. For the assembly is the same. But evidently they made a change, and maybe this is why they did it, because this was happening. The crank pin is the same on all of them, so there's no difference in the length of it, and the rod is the same. So now when you look up the crank halves, these two here, the original ones start out at a 367 prefix, and The newer ones are a 598, I think. I didn't bring that info with me. But the crankshaft assembly will work either place. So I don't know. I'm going to have to do a little more research and see if there's something we can do here. But I just, you know, if these things, if this will go in the case with the thrust washers on both sides, we'll have to measure it. I think the thrust washers are probably, like all of them, about 1 millimeter. So we'd add 2 millimeters to the width of our crank and check the inside of the cases to make sure that the crank will still fit. And if that's the case, we can put the crank shims in there too. Some more information we've got to find out, do a little research, and maybe do some measuring on this. But the first thing we're going to have to do is come up with a case, and that would be the right-hand case. As you can see here, it's broke on the inside. I bet you that's, see, it's kind of stepped. My pen hits that. So it's putting the gears in a bind. Now I don't have a clue what caused that. You see it on this side too. I just don't know whether, you know, I can't see that the kicker would cause that, but it may. That's a shame. Okay guys, there you have it. We know we've got to rebuild the crank. We know we got to put bearings in it, but we really need that side case, or the right middle case. I don't know what caused that. I'm going to keep looking at it and see if I can figure out something that may have done it. The only damage I see is where the Kickstarter has hit the case. I just don't know whether that could cause that or not. But at this point, it looks like the gears are all intact, in good shape. It's just the bushing. It doesn't look like it's will stay in the case anymore. So we're probably going to need a bushing, unless that comes with the case. I'm not sure. But I think we can get by with the gear sets, the shafts, and all that. But we're definitely going to need the center right-hand case. And I think the crankshaft is a doable thing. We'll just have to do a little more looking around on that and see what the deal is. But I think a fellow should be able to use that with the thrust washers. We'll just have to do some measurements inside the case. We'll put the cases together, measure them, and then add two. I'm not sure whether those thrust washers are a millimeter each or not. We'll have to check on that too. But we'll see if it'll fit in there. If it will, then we'll build it that way. And I'll just set it up in the mill, and we'll take off that little ridge, and that should fix that one side. The other side's good. So, you know, it's things like this happen. I know that the man that owns this is not going to be very happy about it, but it is what it is, and we just need to go forward on it, whatever we need to do. I really don't feel comfortable about welding that the way it's stepped out. I don't know whether I could get it back in. I think that's what's causing that gear shaft, the countershaft, to bind. You know, it was free in one part and would bind in the other part. So I don't think that's a good option, but we'll have to look at it. Anyhow, hey, thanks for going along on the ride. See you next video.